Welcome back to the Automation Podcast. My name is Shawn, and this week on the show, I sit down with Jordan Wiens to talk about his new product, DinStorage. But before we get to that, first a word from our sponsor, theautomationblog.com. Now, over the last several weeks, I spent hundreds of hours putting together what I'm calling guides. These are ordered list of articles based on a particular product, like, for instance, ControlLogix or CompactLogix or SM1500. And these guides are completely free. You just go to theautomationblog.com, you click on guides, you pick the product you want to learn about, and then you'll see an ordered list of all of our content on that product. And once you pull up an article or a video on that particular product, you'll now see on the right-hand side, right underneath the ad, you'll see what I'm calling a mini guide. It's that same ordered list of content on that particular product right there on every article and video over at theautomationblog.com. So with that, let's go ahead and jump back into the podcast and talk to Jordan Wiens about his new product line, DinStorage. Jordan, thank you for coming on the Automation Podcast. I'm excited to take a look at your product. But before we get into it, can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. My name is Jordan Wiens. I am an electrical engineer by trade. I grew up in the electrical contracting business and then got into to electrical in the oil and gas space. So my initial jobs were with ExxonMobil as an electrical engineer. And then I subsequently started an engineering company in 2006 doing instrumentation and controls as an integrator. So building and designing control panels and safety systems has been my jam since I got out of college. So I've had Xenon, our engineering company, for about 16 years now. And our product that we're introducing today, the DinStorage product, is birthed out of that experience in the instrumentation and control sector.
So, and when I saw this product, I'm like, we got to get you on the show. So can you tell us about the product? What's available today? What's its purpose? Maybe hold up the board. I was showing it off during the morning show, but maybe show up the board and kind of walk us through the different versions.
Yeah, of course. So the product is called DinStorage, and it was intended to be a control panel organization accessory. So the idea is that the idea kind of came from when we were doing a factory acceptance test with a customer, and they were hunting around for the spare fuses that were on the DIN rail for the power distribution terminal blocks. And our client said, why isn't there a way to store fuses on a DIN rail? And we said, okay, that's a great idea. Because so often when we see control panels, we see that they're a mess. There's parts laying all over the bottom. There's the fuses laying on top of wire trays. So the idea was to make a line of products that help keep control panels organized. So we've got a few different models here. They all snap onto the DIN rail, or they have a surface mount option, but they're intended to store busman and little fuse cartridges that are the typical ones for any type of DC distribution terminal blocks or AC. So we've got two different versions. One we call the slotted version, which is just your typical fuse dispenser where you would just slide it in and they store right there on the DIN rail. The second version is a stacked, so I call it the PEZ dispenser of fuse dispensers. But really this one's more intended for panels that have higher vibration, or if you're worried about the angle, and it uses the gravity or the weight of each one of the fuse cartridges to kind of hold them in there. And then it's, you can tilt it, you can see here, and the fuses don't fall out, so it's a very good. And then the last one, which seems to be the most popular one, is the drawer storage, which is it's a 2-drawer transparent storage that snaps on the DIN rail. And this one's intended to store any kind of accessory that you might want on the DIN rail, whether it be fuses or terminal blocks or relays or wire tags. Really anything that can go inside that drawer is available, and you can see it through the transparent drawer. And I think what makes this product unique and kind of good is that each one of these will just snap right off the DIN rail once you've got it on. And so once you put it on, you can go and reload these drawers or any one of the fuses. And then when you're done, you just pop it back on and it just slides right back on, and it's done.
Yeah, so when they're on there, they don't fall off. You have to physically try to pull them off. They're on there good.
We designed all the plastics with like a high malleability so that it doesn't break. And then every piece of this is UL fire rated, so it's built for high temperature panels. It's not going to deform. we've done tests where we step on these things and none of it breaks. So they're very, very strong and very durable, and they'll outlast any other item that's in the control panel. So that's kind of the product. It's pretty simple. When I show this to people, it takes 3 seconds for somebody to understand what this is and its application. And, we launched the product fully in January, and we've sold a ton of them already, and people are loving them. And it's been pretty good.
I love it for fuses, right? And that's a must, right? But the drawers, I'm not surprised that they're popular, because it could be PLC batteries, it could be PLC keys, it could be,
right.
There's just so many different little things that you have rolling around at the bottom of the enclosure that you're like, man, this would be great to put right on the DIN rail. So now, tell us the website, like if somebody wants to pick up some of these, or even if they want to provide feedback saying, hey, I love what you have, but can you do this or can you do that? Where would people go to see the current products and provide any feedback or buy some? But before we answer that, first, a quick word from our sponsor this week, theautomationschool.com, where you'll find courses on Control Logics, Compact Logics, Micro 800, Micro Logics, S7 1200, 1500, and more. And if you pick up one of the extended Allen Bradley programmable controller courses this summer, you'll also get the new 2023 edition, which I begin filming here in just a couple of weeks. So you not only get the existing extended edition, you get the new 2023 Ultimate Edition. So if you or somebody you know needs training in these products, come check out my 5-star rated online courses over at theautomationschool.com.
Sure. It's DinStorage.com, DIN storage.com. And because this is a new product, we're trying to get as many out there and into people's hands as possible. So we're looking for feedback. We want market exposure. So if you're interested in supporting us, if you go to the website, there's a little form you can fill out, and we will send you a free sample unit. We want people to try these, and we're confident that once people see the benefit and the organization it brings to control panels, that you'll come back and have more. And the units are available there. They're also available on Amazon. They're available on DigiKey, and we've signed up a number of major electrical distributors at this point, and we're growing that list. So hopefully in the near future, it'll be at any electrical distributor that any of your watchers may use.
Yeah, I think it's important the sample part is a lot of times the electrician needs to actually show the boss, the guy running the department, to show him what it is and actually put it in, show him how useful it is, before the big guy will, bite off and say, okay, yeah, go ahead, buy one for every panel. So that's a really good idea. So with that, Jordan, I was wondering about, this looks like so simple. I could put this together in a weekend. Is that true? Or is it putting together a brand new product? Does it take more than a couple hours? Like when you're, just bored and there's no more football to watch? I mean, what's the truth here?
Yeah. I guess with being an engineer, I had never gone through the product development phase. So, when I first got the concept in my head about what something like this could look like, I sketched it out literally in my living room, and then I started the building it in Inventor. So, drew it from scratch, and then you always get the different iterations of how is it going to attach to the DIN rail, and so we went through many, many different versions of it. And I got to tell you, going through a product design and molding and everything is quite a journey. Everything from, how does the fit and finish look? What types of materials are you going to be selecting? What's the spacing in between each one of these little pieces so that you can universally fit busman, little fuse, anything that you're going to be putting in there. And then you got to go through, if you want to protect it, because obviously it is a simple enough product that if somebody else saw it, it could be easily copied. So going through the whole patent process was quite a journey, preparing all that documentation, and then, having to go through not only the prototype phase where, spent many thousands of dollars on 3D printed versions to make sure that they work, making sure that all the little buttons fit perfectly when they snap onto the DIN rail, making sure that when you have the base unit that snaps onto the DIN rail at first, it doesn't break off the little fingers. There's many aspects that I didn't think about. So yes, it takes a short amount of time to try to figure out the design, and you can get the concept, but actually getting fit and finish to an end product that you can use is quite the journey. And I ran into a number of obstacles. For example, had it in my head at first, like I want to make sure that manufacturing is done here in the United States. So I took my molds, I took my models, and I approached dozens of different mold manufacturers in the United States. I said, what can we do here? And most of them wouldn't even take my phone calls, because they said, well, if you're not going to order more than 10,000 or 20,000 at a time, or if you're not going to be spending more than 150 or $200,000 a year, then we're not interested. And then other manufacturers that would take it, the manufacturing costs were astronomical. I mean, it put it to the point where there would be very little profitability in the unit itself. So then we started exploring, overseas production, and that's where we ended up landing. We found a fantastic manufacturer overseas with a United States arm. So we kind of tried to keep it, as local as possible. But that's where we ended up getting it. And then, going through the molding process and changes and making sure the injection strengths are all in the right spot. It's been a really fun journey, but it's taken about 2 years to get from design in head to an actual product I can put in somebody's hands.
So there's a big difference in just, printing something on your 3D printer and just using it in your home versus producing something for mass market that is going to be reliable and stand up to the standards that, electricians have these days and control engineers. I mean, it has to survive the drop test and the step test. I mean, it's when you're out there trying to get things working, it's pretty brutal. I mean, people are rough on stuff, so it sounds like, maybe more than just a couple hours on the weekend.
More than just a couple hours.
Yeah. 2 years. Wow. That's really impressive. Any thoughts about writing a book about this journey? Because it sounds like you could help out a lot of other inventors by sharing your experiences and what you went through.
A book, maybe not, maybe coming on your show it could be the extent of it. But that's the other thing too, as an engineer, I'm not necessarily a good writer. I like to write in bullet points and in like summary. So, I love chatting with people about all this stuff. And, having started my first company when I was 26 years old, there's been so much that I've learned over the years, and the difficulties. And there's tons there, and I like to share it, but I'm afraid my book might be a little boring. And plus, I don't know how much content I can write about a little trinket that hangs on the DIN rail, if I'm being honest, Shawn.
Well, now I want to ask you this. This is another question. Now, you didn't know this question was coming, but I'm kind of curious. You must get a lot of feedback, like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. What is some of the, if you could share them, what is some of the, either the best feedback you've gotten, and maybe some of the wildest, like outlandish feedback? Like, I'm personally right now thinking a coffee cup holder. Right?
That's funny.
That's the worst thing you want to have in your electrical panel, is any type of liquid, right? But still, I couldn't help it. I still couldn't help it.
Yeah, it's been really, really fun. A lot of the feedback I get has to do with certification. People are concerned about the UL certification, and they say, I can't put this in a UL control panel unless it's UL certified. So, I've done the legwork with UL. I mean, we're a UL shop here, and we build our own panels. So I went to UL and said, hey, can I certify this? And they said, sure, if you pay us money, but you don't have to, because it's not an arcing and sparking part. It's not, conducting any electricity, in the same way that DIN rail doesn't need to be UL certified. These little products also don't need to carry that rating. So, me trying to give that feedback back, I have gotten some pretty good product requests, and we actually have probably 6 or 7 more iterations of things that can go in the control panel. I thought of one the other day, like the electrical pen tester, the little thing that lights up when electricity is there. So the idea, if you're pushing safety in a plant, would be that, test before touch, right? Yeah. And so is it a good idea to maybe have one of those pen testers available on the side of the panel, on the DIN rail, just available, so that if anybody's in there, you're constantly encouraging them to safety first. Your coffee cup is not a bad idea, is also, fine. I get it. You could have just a little holder, but, we've thought about things from screwdriver holders to even just a small little cup that could hold, either like pens or markers or, a screwdriver, just something, so that the idea is to make maintenance as intuitive and easy as possible for anybody that gets into that panel. Put everything at their fingertips. Sure, you can make the argument that technicians should have their tools when they work on a panel, and I get that. The other thing I get as far as fuse is...
But first, a word from our sponsor, theautomationblog.com. Did you know I took the first 5 seasons of the Automation Minute and Show, and I compiled all of those videos? That's over 270 videos and over 29 hours of video. And I compiled it into a video collection, which you can pick up for just $35 on USB. Or if you prefer digital, you can get it for $30 with a lifetime streaming and downloads. And this is a great way to support the Automation Podcast and the Automation Blog and our other shows. So if you're interested, please visit theautomationblog.com/TAB1.
You shouldn't keep spare fuses in a panel. People shouldn't. You're going to encourage change out artists. People that don't do diagnostics before they change a fuse. So if you put the fuses right there, they're just going to, a blown fuse. Oh, here's another one. Oh, just change it out. And they're not going to do any diagnostics. And I understand that. I totally understand that feedback. So my argument to that is if that's more of a training issue. This is where people need to, be reading and listening to you. Troubleshooting and diagnostics is key. And having the fuses and accessories readily available to you does not excuse you from doing your job and doing the proper diagnostics.
Yeah, I mean, those same people still go to the storeroom and grab the fuses anyway.
I know.
So I don't know. And we're really, most of these fuses, we're talking pennies. So, but yeah, no, I see what they're coming from. As we were talking, I was thinking one thing that I could never find is one of those, how most devices, they have a little pinhole to reset them. And you're supposed to use something non-metallic. And when can you ever find a non-metallic thing? That would be great to have that in that cup thing. So you have your non-metallic thing. Maybe you have 3 or 4 of them in there because they get lost or whatever. But that non-metallic reset thingy so you're not using the paper clip and shorting things out.
That's right. I can't tell you how many times I've seen just paper clip, unbend, stick it in there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm guilty. I do it all the time because I don't have that little non-metallic tweaker. Although I still have my tweaker from college, and this is going back over 33 years ago. I still have my tweaker because they're so hard to find. But so what is the most outlandish thing somebody wanted that you said, no way, we're not going to do that? Any of those? Besides the coffee cup idea.
No, one of the toughest ones I think that would be tough to accommodate is somebody wanted something for the large AC power fuses, the huge ones that you would stick in a bus bar where you'd have 3 of them in a 3-phase system. Not that that's necessarily a bad idea or outlandish, but it's, as I thought through my head, I'm like, how do I accommodate snapping in and storing on DIN rail 3 large fuses, and I'm not sure, yet.
The spacing requirement there is huge because if you did some kind of hand and put it in there, I mean, you need all this space, and who's to say they're not going to short something out as they wander into the panel with that fuse, It's like, no, I'm with you there. Unless it was a really big draw.
Something like that.
You need 5 DIN rails. They're going to connect it.
Right. In the meantime, you might as well just put a box in the bottom. Yeah,
exactly. Or a small crane, you can get. No, but I can see why people would ask for that because sometimes you need bigger fuses, right? Anybody ask about a multimeter holder? So you can just take your multimeter, clip it onto the DIN rail, and because sometimes it's tough, right? When you're in there, you want to test a lot of points. It's like, where do you put your multimeter? Where's a safe place to, so it doesn't fall over or how many times I've had my meter and it's like the leads aren't long enough, so maybe you snap it right to the DIN rail, right? Your multimeter, right? Your fluke, right to the back, and then now you're free to test within a 6-foot area. Nobody suggested that. I guess it's a bad idea.
No, it's actually quite valid, and we thought about that, and that at least my fluke has got the little magnet strap on it, so you just clip it onto the back panel. But also we one of the products that we've got in queue, once we start selling more of these, we'll start bringing more out to market. Is just using the same base flat plate, but making it longer with an adhesive back so that you can add this universal clip on to anything on it. Whether it be a meter or whether it be a network switch that doesn't have DIN rail connection for some reason, or put it on your coffee cup, Shawn, and stick it on there, and then you can put your coffee cup right in there. Then you just have to lift it off. It'd be a piece of cake.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to mount HMIs to my wall. Just stick them right on that. Actually, I actually like that. There's I have a lot of demos. I'm teaching courses, and so there's a lot of use to those type of products, not for in the plant, but really for the training room, right? So a lot of that stuff does seem to make sense. In any case, could you hold up the demo again and give us the website again?
Sure. Yep. Here's the demo board, and it is then the door snaps in so that doesn't come out.
And it also doesn't fall out too if it's open, which you just demonstrated. Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We tried to think of it, but yeah, DinStorage.com, DINStorage.com, and these are the products.
And guys, if you're watching this, you have a little extra money in your electrical budget, please go pick some of these up. Let's help this American ingenuity. Let's help this new product get off the ground. And I'd love to see a lot of orders come from the audience here. And this is not going to cost you $5,000. So you don't need to get a CapEx approved to get these products.
That's
right?
True.
And if you have an account on Amazon or you have an account on DigiKey, or ask your local distributor, right? Say, hey, have you guys picked up this line yet? And if they haven't, they know how to get in touch. So in any case, and if your boss is a stickler for spending money, right, get a sample and show it to them. Show them how worthwhile they are. But with that, Jordan, anything else we should cover before we end the show?
No, I appreciate this, Shawn. I mean, you've been wonderful, and this is great, and I hope it's useful. And to any of your audience members, if you have ideas, crazy or not idea, I mean, let us know. We're happy to do some kind of revenue sharing or something for any of these ideas that come in. We've already put in the hard work for some of the, the base molds and things. And so, be part of it. I would love that. To me, this is about providing good solutions for control panels, and we're open.
Well, Jordan, I really appreciate you coming on the Automation Podcast, and I want to wish you a lot of success with this product line.
Hey, thanks, Shawn. Much appreciated.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that episode. I want to thank Jordan for coming on the show and telling us all about his product, DinStorage. I hope you guys will go up to his website and pick up a couple of the pieces and try them out. That said, if you did enjoy this episode, please consider giving us a like and a sub. And if you want to follow me, you can do so over at automation.locals.com. You'll also find all of my PLC, HMI, and SCADA training courses over at theautomationschool.com. With that, I want to wish you all a happy, safe, and healthy week. And until next time, my friends, peace.